Good morning. Happy Friday. It is looking a little rough out here right now. I did not do a garden tour this week because we were in Disney and I just didn't have a chance to film it. But we're gonna do a little maybe one today. I have my coffee out here. It's way too hot. I'm gonna open the lid so it can cool off a little bit. Hopefully no bugs go in it. So, the dill is huge. I'm going to be canning some more pickles this weekend because I have a counter full of cucumbers right now that I need to do something with. I also need to found a piece of a marigold and my rosemary. I was like, what is that? My mind is all aflutter because when we got home from Disney, before we left, I picked all the tomatoes that I had and I made 6 cans worth of diced tomatoes. I didn't film it. I didn't think about it. I was so focused on trying to get it done before I left. And also, I didn't feel great Saturday. I woke up with a headache in the middle of the night. So it was rough. But I will be doing that again. And actually, I probably will do that maybe this weekend. Maybe next weekend. I'm looking at my determinate tomatoes and there's a lot of red down there. But I'm also struggling a lot with a lot of blossom end rot on those. So I don't know. I didn't really come out here until Wednesday. I came home late. We got home at 1 a.m. Tuesday, actually. And I came out here Wednesday. I walked out here Tuesday, but I didn't really look. I just kind of walked around and then went back in the house. But Wednesday I came out here and actually did some things. I was planning on trimming a bunch of stuff, a bunch of dead branches and stuff off. These K-Cups are so good. They're the cinnamon vanilla nut from Target. They're the Archer Farms brand. They're so good. If you have a Keurig and you like flavored coffee, that's very light. Get those, they're good. So I came out here and I was just gonna cut off dead tomato branches and the dead sunflower heads and that kind of thing. And then if you look behind me, the cantaloupe, see, there's lots of leaves missing because I thought I was dealing with, we're gonna walk over here. I thought I was dealing with powdery mildew. Also, I've had a baby rabbit in here because I planted all these beans and a few of them are just little sticks now. And all my peas are gone, so that's fun. So I thought I was dealing with powdery mildew on my cantaloupe. So I was spraying with peroxide. I actually only did it once, but I noticed that the leaves on the bottom were dying. They were straight up brown and shriveled up. And so I was out here Wednesday night and I'm okay, I'm gonna see if I can figure out what in the world is wrong with this plant. And I see a squash bug and I'm crap. So I pulled it off and I put it in this cup that's down here. It has water and dish soap in it. There was just one. I looked at this whole plant. I cut off all the leaves that were dying or sickly. And then I also accidentally cut off the vine that had the other baby cantaloupe on it. So I just have the one cantaloupe now. But whatever. I'd rather have a healthy plant and one cantaloupe than multiple. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out when you know this thing is done. I assume it'll just detach like a watermelon. I literally have no idea. So anyway, so I'm out here. I find that squash bug. I'm uh-oh. And I didn't really see any other, but I didn't see any other bugs. I did see eggs on the leaves that were already dying, so I just cut those off. The other smaller plant is doing fine. It's down here. It's doing fine. It looks healthy, and it's starting to climb a little bit. I do still have to kind of help it, but that's okay. So I did that. Birds are screaming today. And I watered the 2 cantaloupes and the 2 watermelons with like 1/4 of a cup of hydrogen peroxide and like a gallon of water. I just split it up between the 4 because that's supposed to help like clean anything out that's in the dirt or on the roots or whatever. So then I'm like, okay, I need to check all these plants right here especially. So I checked the pickle plant. I didn't see any. I didn't see any signs of it. That plant, actually, for it being mid-August, it looks pretty good. There's some browning, and I did cut off some of the leaves, but it looks pretty good. The Burpless cucumber actually looks better than that plant, but I did find a squash bug on it. And there are also signs of squash bug eggs, or there were. I think I cut most of them off. But there were squash bug eggs on this plant, and I think I got them all or most of them off. This plant is so lush. I actually came in and like cut a bunch off in the front. There was more right here, and I cut it all off because I got a little freaked out. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm dealing with. So last night I came out and I sprayed some neem on everything to keep the bugs off. My pole bean plant's doing really well. It has lots of beans on it. Lots of beans. So I planted some peas. I had 2 pea plants down here. And you'll see there are no peas now because there was a baby rabbit in here. And it ate my peas. And it ate some of my green beans that I had planted. So I sprinkled cinnamon around those areas, and hopefully that will help. I'm actually going to replant the peas because I really want peas, and they're a really good fall crop, but I need the bunnies to stop eating them. And I have rabbit fencing, but the baby bunnies can get through the little parts of the rabbit fencing. Eventually they'll be too big and they won't be able to, but I just have to keep them out of here until then. Behind me, you'll see it's much less lush, and also that. So I went just to cut the dead heads off, and then realized that it was pretty much everything. There's only just a few flowers left that aren't dead. So I just cut this one off to the stalk. There's a couple down here that are still alive. This one's pretty much down to the stalk. Yeah, so these are pretty much, I think, pretty much done for the season, which makes me sad, but it's okay. I will miss having the privacy of these for sure. And down here, my kale, it's still baby size, but it's there, it's coming up. And that's all the kale I have. I planted some more on the other side. Ugh, I got hit by a sunflower. And there's none over here. But, oh well. I honestly didn't expect to have any to begin with. And there's like 5 or 6 plants right there. So when they get a little bigger, I'll probably move them. Once I take the sunflowers out, I'll have a little more room down there. Also, I have peppers. I have 2 bell peppers on my plants. And again, I'm not going to show them to you because I think that's what's jinxed them. That pretty much made my whole day when I saw those. And they're growing, so fingers crossed they keep doing that. Because I desperately want peppers. I want to be able to make like sauce and salsa with my own peppers. You know what I mean? I trimmed all the marigolds. And when I say trimmed, I mean I pretty much butchered them. back so I can actually freaking walk in here because it was like ridiculous. And I trimmed the sunflowers, I trimmed the cucumber and the cantaloupe. I wanted to trim these tomatoes down here because they are looking like a hot mess. But that's kind of what they do. These determinate tomatoes, they set all their fruit at once and then it ripens, and then when it's done, plants die. So as the fruit starts to ripen, the plants do start to kind of die off, just because that's how it is with those. So I'm not as upset about those dying because they're gonna die anyway, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to getting them pulled out. I hate to say that, but I almost pulled out my longkeeper plant Wednesday because I was just, I just, they're not good tomatoes. A lot of them have blossom end rot now, and I don't like them. I don't like them. I did roast a bunch of tomatoes last night, including some longkeepers, and they turned out fine, so I don't know. I'm gonna try to make some roasted tomato, like marinara sauce. I tried my first Cherokee Purple last night. I picked it before we left because it was almost ripe, and I tried it last night, and it's delicious. It's right up there with the Chianti Rose in terms of how delicious it is. So I'm glad that I have 2 plants, and I also have this one huge tomato that's like a fused blossom. There's actually a couple on this plant that are almost ready to pick too. My indeterminate tomatoes, the ones in the arch, are doing okay. It's getting to the point where they're gonna start dying a little bit on the bottom. The lemon boys look really healthy up at the top, like up here. But down at the bottom, I don't know if you can see, but there's like some yellowing and there's some brown stuff over there. So, I don't know, that just happens, I guess. I'm happy I haven't lost any of my plants yet. The Chianti Rose is like really starting to come into it. I have a pink tomato down here, I notice, and it's a big one. It's a big boy. So it'll be ready to come off maybe this weekend, we'll see. And then it has a bunch of other tomatoes on it, including another fused one. So that's exciting. The Purple Russian is annoying and stupid, and I hate it, but it's literally like if I pulled this down at the top, if I pulled that down at the top, it would hit the San Marzano. That's how tall it is. I've had a lot of problems with this plant having like rotten tomatoes, or having bugs in the tomatoes, or splitting, or whatever. I mean, I just have struggled with this plant. I don't like it. I'm not gonna grow this again. The San Marzano has a lot of yellowing and brown stuff down here. I needed to cut that off. Up at the top it looks healthy. It's still growing tomatoes. So I'm gonna leave it. This longkeeper, yeah, like look at this. Rotten. That's why I almost pulled it out the other day, because it's like every tomato that ripens is rotten. There's some down here that are fully rotten, and it's like, that's fun. I may pull that out this weekend. We'll see. We'll see how crazy I get. So, yeah, like even this area down here, oh god, it is insane. I knew this would happen, but like these marigolds are freaking massive. Like look at this one. It's huge. It's to the point now where it's just trying to control the chaos out here. So I think that's pretty much it. That's all that's going on out here this morning. I'm going to go get my stuff ready and go to work. So I hope everyone has a great Friday, and I will see you in the next one.